So while my crosshairs were pointed to the right, I typed in 0.175. Okay, I am still in the polyline command. I have not hit escape, okay? And it's waiting for my next set of directions, okay? So I want to redefine the width of the polyline. So I want to type W, enter. W, enter. My starting width now should be 0. My ending width will also be 0. Okay. So now I've just got a regular width line. Okay. And I want to use this this feature that we talked about earlier. I'm going to go down and locate the midpoint of my object line, and then make sure I draw this. Try to get the tracking. Okay. So I can locate that point without actually having to draw it. Okay, so once I locate that point where I see my two green dashed lines meeting, I'll left click. Okay, now just for a quick look, I'm going to see that my line is approximately 1/4 of an inch outside of my object. Okay, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to go ahead and pass through it. When I pass through, of course, pass through the midpoint over here. And so to get this evenly spaced on the outside, I'm going to make sure that my next point is about 5.5. Okay, so somewhere in there. So I'm going to left click, and then I'm going to go back to the left. Okay, now I want to go, and I'm not going to click. Remember, I'm still in the polyline command, but I'm going to find the end point of that widest pointed arrow, and then I just want to kind of come down so I can make sure that my arrowhead is pretty well lined up, and then I will left click again. Now I need to redefine the width, so I'm going to press W, enter, and my my beginning width this time will be 0.1. My ending width will be 0. Okay, and then I'm going to pull my crosshairs out to the left and type 0.175 and then enter. And now I have my cutting plane line as you see in the book. Okay, now I got a little bit long with this portion, okay, but they're equal on both sides, equally spaced along the object, so that's really what I'll be looking for when I look at your submission. Okay, notice the way that the arrowhead is pointing. Okay, the arrowhead points toward the side of the object that you keep, basically. Okay, so we're viewing it along this arrow. This is, and it's talking about the section view that we're creating over here. Okay, so we're keeping this part basically, and then rotating that where this cut edge is rotated toward you by 90 degrees. Okay, so now let's add our section lining, and let's go to the section layer. Okay, and we want to use the hatch command, and you can enter that by just typing H and then enter. I believe it is also on, oh, here it is, it's on the draw panel. Okay, you can also use that, but H is easy enough to remember. So H, enter, and then you need to find the areas where you want to click, but you can see that when you bring it into the viewport, it wants to hatch everything in the viewport. Okay, so let's do something. Let's activate the viewport. Okay, so what we add will actually show up in model space, and let's re-enter the hatch command. So H, enter, and we'll get into this more later on, but use the properties drop down and select relative to paper space. Okay, there is an actual required spacing of the section lining, and what this relative to paper space will do, it will create the space between the angled lines based on your viewport scale. Okay, another reason viewport scales are important. So once you've clicked relative to paper space, then you can click the hatched areas of the object and then press enter. And you'll see that this does in fact show up in model space. Okay, now double click outside viewport to deactivate it. So here you have your views. Okay, the thing that's not showing up properly, and this is something we'll talk more about in detail later, If you go back to page 29 of your technical drawing text, you'll see that hidden lines, the dashes should be have a length of 0.12. Also, the dash on a center line also has specified parameters of how that should display. Okay. Notice I'm doing this after I've completed my drawing and scaled my viewport. Scaled a lot my viewport, by the way. The dash in the middle of a center line should also be 0.12. So what I'm going to do, and I'm in paper space, I'm just going to draw a quick line, and I'm going to draw it approximately parallel to one of these hidden lines just to see about how long it is. And I can see that it's 0.4169, which is, if it should be 0.12, it's quite a bit longer than it should be. Just real quick, I'm going to switch back over to model space and type RE and enter, just to make sure that my line types are displaying. And I'm going to double click the viewport, and because they're quite a bit larger than what they should be. Ooh. Okay, so just for round numbers, I'm going to say these are displaying 3 times longer than they should be, the dashes. So let's try something. LTS, we're going to change the line type scale. Enter. And if they're 3 times as long as they should be, let's change this one number to 0.333. Okay, I thought this was happening. Let's go back and change the line type scale to 1. Okay, and take a new measurement. Yeah. Okay, so they're twice as long as they should be. So let's go to LTS, and this is probably all you'll need to do is type in LTS 0.5, and then let's take a quick measurement and see that's approximately 0.12. It doesn't have to be exact. But then our center lines also start displaying properly. You notice how that didn't display properly earlier, but now it does, and they're even showing up right in model space now. So as you normally do, fill out the information in the title block. Your views are complete. Do not add dimensions. Okay, but these are your views. I want to check one more thing. Also notice, if you go back to page 29 in your technical drawing text, that the dashes on your cutting plane line should be approximately 1/4 inch. And I just want to make sure I don't have to do anything with that. Okay, now that is already 1/4 inch, so I don't even have to do anything with that. Okay, so that's your first 2 view and section view drawing. And again, complete the information in the title block, and then you'll be able to submit. And that concludes this video.